friends, myself Sarita, biology lecturer, Government Girls Senior Secondary School, Jindala. Today I will discuss diagrams that are in lesson sexual reproduction in flowering plants. As you know, there will be question of 3 marks from this chapter. So I have tried to show you all the diagrams of this lesson. So first diagram is LS of flower. So it consists of the female part of the flower, that is ovary, then a style and stigma. Ovary contains the ovules, so this is the female part of the flower, and the male part of the flower consists of stamens. So this is the filament and this is the anther, and the whole it forms the stamen. These are the reproductive parts of the flower, whereas the sepals, the green parts, and the colored parts, petals, these are the non-reproductive parts of the flower. So the ovary rests on the part of the stalk that is in the that part is known as thalamus. Now this is the next diagram. It shows the stamens. So stamen consists of a filament, that is a stalk-like, a narrow stalk-like structure, and anther, which is a knob-like structure. And if we see the cut the TS of the anther, we will see pollen sacs and line of dehiscence from where it will liberate the pollen grains. So this is the filament. Each lobe, the anther is bilobed, so it has 2 lobes, each with 2 theca, and each theca has 1 microsporangium. So in each microsporangium there will be a formation of pollen grains. So when the anther splits, it leads to the formation of many pollen grains when the anther dries. So the next diagram is the TS of the anther and young stage as well as the mature stage. So here these are the young anther, which consists of outer covering of the epidermis, stomium, then microspore mother cells, and the various layers. These are the first epidermis, outer covering of the anther, then endothecium, then there are middle layers, then after the middle layers there is a tapetum, this one is tapetum, then there is a microspore mother cells. So when the anther matures and it dries, dehiscence occurs by means of stomium and pollen grains are released. Now this is also a diagram of TS young anther and mature anther at the time of dehiscence. So epidermis, outer covering of the anther, which protects the anther, endothecium, fibrous layer, then middle layers, then tapetum providing nourishment to the microspore to the pollen grains when they have developed from the microspore mother cells. This is the mature anther, dehiscence anther, releasing the pollen grains from the stomium. So this is the diagram. Next, this diagram also shows microsporogenesis. So this is the anther, this is the TS of the anther, and this internally this microspore mother cell, which is a diploid in structure, it will undergo meiosis and it will form a tetrad of pollens, and on maturity and they are liberated, then they will form the pollen grains, and they will separate, tetrad will separate from each other to form individual pollen grains. Now this is a diagram of pollen grain tetrad. So in the anther there are the pollen grains, they are the tetrad is formed, and it will separate from each other to form the independent pollen grains. These are the pollen grains, and they have different type of sculptures, and the outer covering is hard, made up of sporopollenin, which is resistant to high temperature, strong acids, and other kinds of biological decompositions. Now the next diagram is the stages of microspore maturing into the pollen grain. So this is a diagram of uninucleate pollen grain. So it has two layers, exine and intine. Internally there is a nucleus covered by the cytoplasm. There is a gap in the exine, that is the germ pores. Then it will form two cells. This nucleus will divide to form two cells. One is the generative cell and the other is the tube cell. Generative cell lies inside the tube cell, and these two cells are present in the pollen grain. So next diagram is pollen tube development, and the internal layer, that is intine, it comes out of the pollen, these germ pores, and forms the pollen tube. It contains the generative nucleus as well as the tube nucleus, and the generative nucleus divides to form the two male gametes or the male cells, and this is the tube cell, and total number of nucleus is 3. Generative nucleus has divided to two male gametes and the other is tube nucleus, so the total number is 3. So next is the female part of the flower, that is the pistil. Pistil consists of stigma, style and ovary, and ovary contains the ovules, whereas the style, it helps to raise the stigma, and stigma is the landing place for the pollen grains. So this is multicellular syncarpous pistil, where the pistil, all the carpels have fused, and the in this case there is a formation of single compound ovary, for example in poppy or papaver or petunia. This is a apocarpus. In this case, two or more carpels in gynoecium, they are fused with one, and they are free from each other. And for example, in case of Michaelia or buttercup. Now this is a structure of a ovule which we will study in detail. So next diagram is of ovule. So the ovule lies on placenta. So ovule, this is a orthotropous ovule, and in this case the funicle helps to attach with the placenta. Then there is a causal end that is towards the funicle, and the opposite side is the micropylar end. This open place is the micropyle. There is a tissue, that is the nucellus, which forms the ovule. It is covered by the integuments, and inside the nucellus there will be formation of embryo sac, and the portion of the embryo sac or the nucellus which is uncovered is the known as micropyle. So the female gametophyte is the embryo sac. This is the diagram of megasporogenesis. In the nucellus, towards the micropylar end, the cells, they divide to form tetrad, and megaspore mother cells undergo meiosis to form 4 haploid megaspores. So the first this step is known as megasporogenesis. Out of the 4 megaspores in a linear tetrad, the upper 3 degenerate and almost the lower one will form the functional megaspore. Now this is the development of the megaspore or the female gametophyte. Here the first nucleus divides into 2, then into 4, then into 8. 3 of the nuclei stray towards the micropylar, causal end, and 3 of them moves towards the 3 of them remains at the micropylar end, and 3 are in the antipodal area region or the causal end, and one of the nuclei from both the sides, they will come in the center and form the polar nuclei. So these are the antipodal cells, and these are the polar nuclei in the center, and this is the synergids or the helping cells, and in the center there is the egg nucleus, and there is a filiform apparatus that synergids bear a special cellular thickenings at the micropylar tip that is known as filiform apparatus, which helps to guide the pollen tubes into the synergids. So at this stage, the typical angiosperm embryo sac at maturity 8 nucleate, but it is 7-celled stage. So the development of the embryo sac is also monosporic because it has developed from one megaspore. Now the next diagram is the megasporogenesis. So this diagram shows the complete summary type. So this is the embryo sac or the megaspore mother cell. It divides by mitosis to form 4 cells. This is diploid, and these are the haploid cells, and out of these 3 the upper 3 degenerates and the lower one will form the megaspore or the embryo sac. Embryo sac will have one nucleus. By the process of mitosis, it will divide into 2. Then it will again divide by mitosis to form 4 cells, then 8 cells, 3 in the antipodal region towards the causal end, and 3 in the micropylar end. The center one is the egg nucleus, and the other 2 are the synergids, and the 2 polar nuclei in the center. Polar nuclei will fuse to form the polar nucleus, diploid structure. Then these are the antipodal cells, and again these are the synergids and the egg nucleus. So this diagram shows megasporogenesis in the angiospermic plants. Now the next diagram, this is the diagram of the embryo sac. So embryo sac consists of antipodal cells, 3, and polar nuclei or the central cell with the polar nuclei. So that will fuse to form 2n, and synergids with the filiform apparatus, and there is a egg lying between them. So this is the structure of the embryo sac. Now the next is self incompatibility to prevent the self pollination. So this is the female pistil, and these are the pollen grains, stigma, style, and ovary parts of the pistil. So these show pollen grains. They are compatible with the this pistil, so they penetrate inside the style. Whereas here it shows that this is incompatible with the style, so it does not germinate in the style. Now this diagram shows the entry of the pollen tube into the ovule. So this pollen tube contains generative nucleus and the tube nucleus. It enters through the micropylar end Here it one of the nucleus of the generative nucleus or the male nuclei fuses with the egg, it will become diploid, and the other nuclei will fuse with the polar nuclei. It is already polar nuclei is already diploid, so one more male nuclei fuses, uh, so it will become triploid. It will form the endosperm, and these three antipodal cells will disintegrate. Now this is a diagram of LS of ovary showing the process of fertilization. These are the pollen grains and they are forming pollen tube. It's containing these male uh, gametes as well as the generative this vegetative cell. So one of the male nuclei will fuse with the egg nucleus and the other one will fuse with the polar nuclei. So this structure is the embryo sac covered by the integuments, and this is the ovary, and this is the strile, and this is the stigma. Now this is the discharge of the gametes in the synergids. Here this one male nuclei fuses with the zygote, other with the polar nuclei. So it's again same diagram. Almost this is diagram is almost same, that pollen tube formation, two sperm nuclei, one fuses with the egg and the other one fuses with the nuclei. It will form triploid endosperm nuclei. The one fusing with the egg will form the diploid zygote. Now here again these are the pollen grains. If you see the surface of the stigma, there are large number of pollen grains and there is compatibility, then they will enter the strile. Now this is a diagram of endosperm formation. So endosperm formation occurs before the formation of the embryo, so development of the embryo. So in here there are three types of endosperm formation. First is the nuclear type. In nuclear type of endosperm, the first division of primary endosperm nucleus and few nuclear divisions are not accompanied by the wall formation, so only the nuclei divide. In the case of the cellular, here there is cytokinesis after each nuclear division, then there is a cell wall formation. In case of the halobial type, it is intermediate type between the nuclear and the cellular type. First divisions are nuclear and there is also cytokinesis which forms a cell wall around the nuclei. So these are the different types of endosperm formations. Now this is a diagram of dicot and monocot embryo. So here this is a diagram of LS of embryo of a monocotyledonous plant, and this is a diagram of dicotyledonous embryo development. So in case of a monocotyledons, there is a shoot apex which is covered by the coleopetile. There is a radicle that is covered by root cap, and another layer protective sheath is present, that is coleorhiza. There is a scutellum which is the endosperm here. Then this is a dicot embryo development radicle covered by the root cap, then hypocotyle and plume which will form the shoot, and there are two cotyledons. This is the diagram of development of the dicot embryo. So zygote divides into two cells, basal and terminal. Terminal will form the embryo, the basal will form the suspensor. which pushes the embryo into the this endosperm for the food, for the nutrition. Then it becomes the globular shaped, then heart shaped, then torpedo shape, and this completes the development of the embryo. Now this shows emasculation. Emasculation is the removal of the anther from the flower bud before the dehiscence of the anther. So the anthers are removed, then it is emasculation. Now after the removal of the anthers, the covering of the flower with the polythene sheets, this is known as bagging. Now this is a diagram of the seeds. So there are monocotyledonous seeds as well as dicotyledonous seeds. So first diagram is of the bean seed. So the bean seed has an embryo inside it, and it is non-endospermic seed, and it has got two cotyledons, hypocotyle, and the region above the embryonic axis, that is the epicotyle, and it has plume which will form the shoots. Then this is a castor seed. It is a dicot endospermic seed with seed coat, endosperm, cotyledons, shoot apex, hypocotyle, and the radicle for the formation of fruit. This is a diagram of maize or the monocot endospermic seed. This is the radicle covered by the coleorhiza, plume covered by the coleopetile protective sheath, then a scutellum, that is the single cotyledon, and there is a endosperm outside the above the this embryonic axis, and this is a diagram of the monocotyledonous seed. These are the false fruits. So false fruits are those fruits when it develops from the other floral parts, such as which takes place in the formation of fruit. So fruits like strawberry and apple, they are false fruit because they develop from the fleshy thalamus. So this is a life cycle of the angiospermic plant. So we can see here. So this is a flower, and this is the female part of the flower. Here there is in the ovary there is a ovule, and this ovule has an embryo sac which develops from the megaspore mother cell, and it undergoes divisions to form the embryo sac by meiosis. Then this embryo sac divides by mitosis and forms 8 nuclei. Now in the other case, the male part of the flower, that is the stamens. In the stamens, the upper portion, that is known as anther, it contains the pollen grains. Pollen grains develop from the microspore mother cells, and they will form the tetrads, and these tetrads will become independent and form the pollen grains. Pollen grains will develop pollen tube. Pollen tube will land pollen grain with the pollen tube will land on the stigma of the ovary. From there it will penetrate in the style and enter the embryo sac through the micropylar end. Here one nuclei of the male gamete will fuse with the egg nucleus. The other one will form with the polar nuclei. As polar nuclei is already diploid, it will fuse with the one male nuclei to form a triploid structure, that will be the endosperm, and one nuclei that fuses with the egg will form the zygote 2n. Then the zygote will form the embryo, or the new plant will develop from it, and the endosperm will provide nourishment to the developing embryo. Then it will form the new plant, and it will again have flowers, and this cycle will continue. So this is the life cycle of angiospermic plant. So these were the important diagrams of this lesson. Thank you.